Israel carried out massive airstrikes in Syria last night, targeting a critical military base used for purposes that, well, we'll get into here in a minute. This comes as Hezbollah launches another barrage of missiles at Israel and manages to strike a high-rise apartment building in Naharia with a drone. Also, Iran ramps things up on the world stage in unique ways. I'm Ben, and this is the Israel Guys. So on Sunday, there was a series of alleged Israeli strikes on military locations in Syria. According to Syrian media, the strikes killed at least 16 people and wounded 43, and also sparked some bushfires. They said that the strikes damaged a highway in central Syria and caused material loss in several military sites, including a scientific research center in Masyaf. This center has long been associated with the manufacturing of chemical weapons, including probably sarin gas and precision surface-to-surface missiles for Syria and Iran as well. So far, Israel has not acknowledged the attack, although this doesn't really mean anything, as Israel rarely acknowledges their attacks, their strikes in Syria. Even though Syria has attacked Israel on multiple occasions since October 7th, Israel does prefer to keep a low profile with their operations in Syria. This comes on the heels of dozens of rockets being launched to Israel from Hezbollah over the last few days. It seems that Israelis across Israel's north spent parts of their weekend hunkering in bomb shelters. As part of the wave of projectiles launched by Hezbollah, a suicide drone directly impacted an apartment building in Naharia. You can see it here in multiple videos.
Oh my God! Yo, je de voek! Je de voek! Je de voek!
Why?
Thank God it seems like no one was hurt in the building itself. There were other drones that crashed harmlessly into the ground, and there are reports that one actually exploded near the western Galilee border town of Shlomi yesterday and wounded 2 IDF soldiers. Both soldiers were evacuated for treatment to a hospital close by, and it looks like they are going to be okay. Again, thank God. Following the attack, the Israeli Air Force struck several observation posts in Lebanon, and the IDF did a situational assessment. The Chief of Staff, Herzia Levy, said that the military is ready for any mission that will be required. The IDF operates strongly in the north and is at a high level of readiness with preparing operational plans. In the time since October 7th, with Israel being at war with Hezbollah ever since then, it seems like August has been the most intense month so far in between the IDF and Hezbollah, with more than 1,300 attacks from Hezbollah on Israeli territory in just the last couple of weeks. In response to Israel's strikes in Lebanon, which were in response to Hezbollah's escalation over the weekend, Hezbollah's Deputy Secretary General warned Israel yesterday against expanding its operations in the north. He said, "If we face a war, we will respond with an even harsher one, and we will not abandon the field." So he's basically threatening Israel here, I guess, saying that Hezbollah doesn't want war, which is idiotic on its face since Hezbollah is the one currently attacking Israel. Last I checked, it was tens of thousands of Israelis living in hotels because it's too dangerous to be in their homes on the border in the north, not Lebanese people. On Sunday, the head of U.S. Central Command, General Michael Eric Kurilla, arrived in Tel Aviv for meetings with Israel's top military brass about the future of the war in the north. It looks like he was presented with their operational plans for a full war with Hezbollah when Israel's ready for that step, ready to take that step in defending their homeland. It's very possible we could see an escalation by Israel in that space in the near future. It really is the only viable way for Israel to move forward at this point. And right now, it's just a matter of timing, just the best timing for Israel, the IDF, to take that step. Which reminds us, since October 7th, over 600 IDF soldiers have sacrificed their lives defending Israel from the forces of Hezbollah and Hamas. Their families are shattered, their wives are now widows, and their children are left without fathers. One such widow is Hadass Lowenstern, whose husband Elisha fell in battle, leaving her to care for their 6 young children, including a baby, all on her own. Or Niora Swede, whose husband Bechor heroically fought terrorists with his bare hands near Gaza before losing his life. Niora now faces the daunting task of raising their 3 beautiful daughters by herself. These IDF widows have lost everything as they mourn their husbands. They are also struggling to meet basic needs. Without their family's provider, we cannot abandon them. Their husbands gave their lives to protect Israel and the free world from terror. Now we must protect their families who have sacrificed so much. Every dollar raised goes towards essential expenses like food, utilities, and clothing. Please give generously. Click the link below to support the heroic widows and orphans of fallen IDF soldiers. So to continue with Israel on the Hezbollah front, today the IDF announced they were able to eliminate the Radwan force commander Mohammed Qassem al-Shah in an airstrike in the Bekaa Valley in Lebanon. This is a commander responsible for many, many terrorist attacks inside of Israel, so very good news on that regard. On the front with Iran directly, there's a new report from the Wall Street Journal that says that Iran is sending ballistic missiles to Russia to be used in the war with Ukraine. The timing on this isn't specific, wasn't stated in the article. No one knows for sure whether this happened a couple of months ago or is in the process of happening right now. This is a crazy development, if true. Represents a shift in the balance of power in the world. The fact that Iran is sending missiles to Russia, of all places, and people doubt that Iran is a threat to the West. People doubt the idea that Iran truly wants to destroy the state of Israel and also America and countries in Europe as well, even though they chant on the streets, death to Israel and death to America all the time. Iran did deny the allegations, but we know that Russia and Iran have been working in closer and closer cooperation over the last few years. As of today, Russia still hasn't condemned the October 7th attack in Israel, as crazy as that seems. And we know that Iran has supplied Russia with suicide drones for use in the war with Ukraine before. In response to this news, the White House National Security Council spokesperson Sean Savitz said in a statement that any transfer of Iranian ballistic missiles to Russia would represent a dramatic escalation in Iran's support for the Kremlin in its invasion of Ukraine. On a positive note, it looks like Israel has made some major breakthroughs in response to its Iron Beam technology. The Rafael company just completed a successful first test of the system and said the trial met expectations. The Iron Beam system will not replace the Iron Dome, but will work alongside it. The two will work together. Functionally, it basically does what the Iron Dome does, intercepting rockets and drones just with lasers instead of missiles like the Iron Dome uses. Basically, each shot to intercept a foreign object with the Iron Beam will cost several dollars to the state of Israel, cost several dollars, as opposed to the Iron Dome, which costs tens of thousands of dollars. I think somewhere upwards of $40,000, $50,000 per shot with the Iron Dome. So the two will be used together because the Iron Beam isn't necessarily as accurate, from what I've heard, as the Iron Dome, or it's less accurate in certain use cases than the Iron Dome. So they will use the two of them together. It's what it's seeming like right now, that they'll be stationed together and they'll decide which shots to take with the Iron Beam, which shots to take with the Iron Dome. And if they can even take, a certain percentage with the Iron Beam, it will dramatically cut costs for Israel, which is something they really, really need right now. So thank God for that. They're saying the technology should be online by the end of next year. It'll be really, really cool to see this one fully operational. Guys, continue to pray for the state of Israel, that they would be victorious in defending themselves against their enemies. Also, don't forget that the widows of the IDF need your help. Please consider doing what you can for them. The link is in the description. As always, stop listening to the lies and propaganda and connect with the truth of what is happening in Israel. We'll be back soon here at the Israel Guys.